Hello, this is Rachel Aziz, and for my final project, I'm doing Jesu, Meine, Freude, or in English, Jesus, Priceless Treasure by Johann Sebastian Bach. The pieces that I chose out of the various choral and chorus pieces were chorus number 2 and chorale number 1. And overall, what I noticed with the overall structure is it's a basic vocal arrangement with soprano, alto, tenor, bass, except for this one it has 2 sopranos in the chorus one. And also I had an arrangement that lays out all the voices in the piano part, and it made it a lot easier to use this arrangement since the tenor and the alto and the soprano were all in treble clef with the bass in the bass clef. The original music uses tenor clef, alto clef, and I'm not sure what it's called, I guess soprano clef, which was harder to read, so this one definitely helped. And even though the tenor is shown in treble clef, the piano puts it in the right octave. So if we go to chorale number 1, it's mostly in E minor. It changes to G major, I think, after the repeat that I'll show later, and it uses very complicated harmony, I find, with passing 1/6/4s and a bunch of applied chords in there as well. The first 6 bars repeat about here exactly, so I don't know why there wasn't a repeat sign there at all, because they could have just done that. It's the exact same. Then it goes into G major, presumably. I wrote both, if it were to be written in E minor or G major, this is how it would be notated. It's a lot more complicated and janky in E minors, and it looks a lot more fluid in G major, so I assume it's in G major. Then in here, I noticed it went back to E minor. Yes, that would be about bar 16, I think. And also something I noticed that I wrote down, this is true, starts off with lament bass, which is fun. That's a cool thing, and since it repeats again, there's also lament bass right here. And so for chorus 2, there's a lot of block chords, I find, at the start. Again, applied chords, and some kind of complicated harmony. I said this was a tonic pedal around bar 6, and it also repeats it repeats the section at bar 12, and it repeats the bars 4 to 8 right here at bar 12. And I think this one really uses a lot of applied chords and not a lot of ornamentation overall as well. There's not many 16th runs or anything, no scales. There are passing tones scattered throughout that I found. Like here, it's a passing triad, or not triad, third right here that I'll talk about. And there are many 6th and 3rds as well. And there are major jumps in some voices, usually after fermatas. So if you look here, the tenor goes all the way up to the E, usually after the fermata, and also here at the fermata as well. And yeah, so I'm going to play this. Also, something else to note, no cadential 6/4s were found in these, and most of these chords moved together. Bach kind of utilizes the passing notes to transition into the major and minor sequences. So if we go from there, one, hopefully you can see that, it's this part. It's one, sorry, passing notes, and then into a major 4, which is odd, passing triad or third, into an applied 5/6, 5/6, and then so you can kind of see how this is a major sequence turning back into minor as we go into 1 with this minor 3rd, and then we are back. And then this part, and then a major 5 chord. And then in here we have, in the lower parts, we have that passing 1/6/4, which is pretty cool of him to add in. It sounds like this. With another passing, he has been, I've noticed, been doing passing chords, da-na-na, like up, down, up, back up, right? And then if we go into here, you can see that he turns into G major. Now, I wrote it down, the equivalent that the chords would be if it stayed minor, and it's wonky. It'll sound the same, but it's just useless to be that complicated. So if it was in major, it would start on the normal E minor, and then it turns into major, and then major again, and then major again, right here, and then back, back to major. Then we're at a major 4/6/5 again. We're keeping major here as well. And then what would be a major 3 is actually just a 1 here. So you'd assume that it's a major. Then in here at the bottom, we're staying major, but this is where we go back to minor because it gets a little weird if it were to stay major. You know, you're just going off of context. This would not make sense here if it stayed major, so I stopped doing that. I stopped saying major immediately here, and he uses these passing tones, the F sharp to A again, the minor 3rd, to go right back into minor again. And then we have another lament bass that finishes it off right here. So with number 2 chorus, it's essentially he uses the same concepts here without any major or minor shift really, but he does a pedal right about here. Sorry, let me just so he does about the same in the chorus, but he has this little pedal that I'll play. That. Sorry, let me play that again. Whoops. That's kind of how it sounds with these staying, but I don't have enough fingers for that. But yeah, that's basically how it sounds right there with the star. And also in the chorus, I find he shifted between the same chords, but with sevenths or inversions changed throughout. So there were examples 5 into 5/7, 5/6/5 into 5/7, and also here 5 to 5/7, and 1 to 1/6, and yeah, that's also a pattern that I noticed here, 1 to 1/6 as well.